Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video. Welcome if you're new to the channel. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you've been here before, get your comments down below because this is the NHL free agent predictions for the 2025 class. My final predictions. I kind of already released some early predictions, but I wanted to talk about my picks as they've gotten closer here to July 1st and make some changes. So we're about a week away from July 1st, and on this channel, it's one of the biggest streams of the year. I'll be live on July 1st, so I hope you guys will be in that stream. As always, please hit that subscribe button, like, and notification bell. But let's get into it. So starting at the top, the way I did it last time, John Tavares. I'm not going to change my prediction for this one. I think the Leafs, as it stands right now, are a bit far apart from Tavares. Leafs are in around $3 to $4 million a year. Tavares' camp are in around $6, $7, $8 million per year. So I think they're going to come to a happy medium, and I think that Tavares is going to be $5 million at a certain term, maybe 4 years, maybe 5, in around there. I think is fair for Tavares. But I think he stays in Toronto. But at the same time, if the Leafs can't nudge the other direction, then maybe Tavares looks elsewhere. Mitch Marner to Vegas. There's been so many rumblings around it. I think Marner to Vegas, there was like speculation he was looking at houses. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard some different things. I think LA's still going to be in the picture there. Maybe Dallas if they can do a sign and trade. I think there's other conversations. Maybe Toronto somehow finds themselves back at the table, but I doubt it. $13 million times 4. The reason I've changed it a couple times back and forth is if Marner signs a deal like that and I guess bets on himself, then once he's 32, because he's 28 now, he could sign an 8-year deal at that point and just finish his career on that last contract. So I think it's either going to be like 4 years, 4 years, or the full 7 or 8. Obviously, it can only be 8 with Toronto before July 1st. Jamie Benn back to Dallas. I'm pretty solidified on that one. I just think he's going to stay. It might be lower than $5 million, so that's going to be a change I make here. I think it actually will be closer to $2 to $3 million, so I'll go 2.5 times 1. Just based on what I'm hearing, I feel like Jamie Benn, maybe he even does a second year to keep the number down, but something like that might make some sense. I'm not going to put money value at Brent Burns because I think that's possible he retires, but Carolina and Dallas would be the two teams for me. Like Dallas getting a veteran presence on that right side, or he just goes back to Carolina for one more year. Dmitry Orlov. I think I had a couple other teams in consideration, but I'll go to Columbus. I think there might be like a merry-go-round or just kind of like a little bit of a swap in 3 different spots with Columbus losing a defenseman, LA losing a defenseman. We'll see. I think Dmitry Orlov, it looks like he's going to test the market. So maybe he goes to Columbus. And then if Provorov goes somewhere else, maybe there's a bit of a domino effect. We'll see. But Orlov, I think $5 million is fair. Like, definitely he's going to drop from the 7 that he was at. So he's going to drop from that. But I think $5 million is fair. Aaron Ekblad. I've been hearing so many different things about Ekblad. It's interesting. I think he could still go back to Florida if they figure it out. But I think they might prioritize Bennett and Marchand. We'll see. I might be wrong. Come back to the video if I am. But Ekblad, he is from Windsor, Ontario. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just in conversation that Ekblad to Detroit could make some sense. It seems like Steve Yzerman's trying to go for a big fish defenseman. There's also been rumors that he's looking at Noah Dobson. My one pushback on that is like they already have Moritz Seider on the right side, so maybe it's a preference to go for a left shot defenseman, but I also think they could go for both. Like I think they're going to overhaul their defense group this offseason, so keep an eye on Ekblad for Detroit. I also throw in Nashville because I just think Ekblad would be perfect next to Yossi. So there's a possibility there. I know people keep trying to connect Ekblad to Toronto, but I would say Detroit and Florida and Nashville are ahead of Toronto in my eyes. Ivan Provorov, LA Kings. So as I already kind of alluded to, I think there could be some maneuvering around of teams that had a defenseman, lose it to free agency or lose him to free agency and then go after a different defenseman. So Provorov would be a perfect fit for the Kings next to Doughty and then eventually next to maybe Brant Clark. But yeah, 7 times 7 probably gets done. I think if the Kings are aggressive like that, I think they're going to try to go after a left shot defenseman this offseason. Brock Besser, hometown. I think there's just so many clues kind of floating right now. I think it's going to be in around $8 to $9 million per on a long-term deal. Claude Giroux, I think he goes back to Ottawa. I mean, there's possibilities of other destinations, but $5 million per year on a 2-year deal makes sense to me. He's later 30s. Give him a couple more years, retire, ascend maybe, or maybe he signs a 1-year deal and maybe he goes back to Philly. If Philly has a good year this year, we'll see. Brad Marchand. So I've heard the Toronto things. I understand it. I think Toronto is going to go aggressive. Like, if I was in Brad Treliving's shoes, I would, and this sounds crazy to some people, but I would offer Marchand like $9 million per year on a 3 or 4 year deal. You're not going to change the DNA unless you really get aggressive. So I think for Marchand, he's been kind of a late bloomer. Like, even when he won the Cup in 2011 with the Bruins, he was not anywhere close to the star he is today. And I know the age and the injury conversations, I just think now's the time with the Leafs core. If you can get Marchand, you overpay for that guy. And $9 million of Marchand versus $14 million of Marner, I think a lot of people would make that decision pretty quickly. Let's just put it that way. Playoffs. But I think he wants to stay in Florida. So if Florida offers the 4th year and it's not like an outrageous offer, like I think for 37-year-old Brad Marchand, who didn't put up crazy numbers because he was injured, and obviously the playoffs he put up crazy numbers. I'm saying regular season versus playoffs. I think value should be put more on playoffs, and he put up crazy numbers in the playoffs. So that's why I think maybe he wants more. But $4 million, $5 million over a 4-year term, I think he might bite. I actually think he might take that from Florida, so we'll see if they can do it. Nikolai Ehlers, I said Carolina before. I'm not even changing anything on this prediction. $9 million per year, I think Carolina would have to pay big. There are rumors right now that Carolina is also targeting big fish in the trade market, so keep an eye on that. And then above, there was a rumor that Marner to Vegas would depend on Thomas Hertl, or one of their players going somewhere. Carolina's name was floating around, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of rumors of Gavrikov to the Rangers. I think $5 million per year on a long term would definitely get it done. So maybe Gavrikov with like Will Borgen on that second pair, or Gavrikov partnered with ultimately Adam Fox. And I think the Gavrikov thing will definitely happen, especially if they trade Keandre Miller, or they could try to get Keandre Miller with Borgen, see if that can maybe improve, and then Gavrikov with Fox. We'll see. I think there's a few different scenarios for the Rangers this offseason. Andrew Mangiapane, I've changed. I think I've said a bunch of different teams for Mangiapane and not Toronto, but now I've heard some more stuff around Toronto going after him, and I can't ignore the Brad Treliving connection in Calgary with Mangiapane. So I think it's a possibility, because I've seen Treliving so far since he's arrived in Toronto. He really leans in on those connections and definitely uses it to his advantage. He did that with Oliver Ekman-Larsson with their time back with the Coyotes organization. He did that with Chris Tanev as well, that relationship in Calgary. So I think he's going to lean into that a little bit here and try to see if he can get a good deal with Mangiapane. If he adds a couple more years on the term, like 4 years or 5 years, I think he can get the money value down. I think he's going to do it for a couple players this offseason again. I would say Andrew Mangiapane, and you'll see another name coming up here. Andrei Kuzmenko, I think he goes back to LA. It was a good fit, or if LA can't afford him, then Columbus would be a good fit too. I think Columbus is going to have a busy offseason, and I think Kuzmenko could be part of that. Now we'll just scroll down to some more picks here. I think I've left some good surprises, so let's get into some more picks here. So just looking at more of these predictions and just picks, it's so hard to predict at the end of the day, but to throw out some hot takes, Ryan Lindgren, little hometown action maybe, or if the Blackhawks want to get a veteran on that left side, they have Murphy, the veteran, on the right side, so maybe with buying up Brody, Martinez out, maybe they want to get another veteran in there. Christian Dvorak to the Blackhawks also makes some sense as kind of that third line center potentially, behind obviously Bedard and Nazar. We'll see how that works out. Sam Bennett to the Panthers, I think that's already probably agreed on verbally. We'll just see how it goes. There's been some speculation that the Panthers are not announcing that one because they want leverage in the other negotiations, i.e. like Marchand or Ekblad. So we'll see. But I think that there's a couple other names out there that are going to be interesting. Like Patrick Kane back to the Red Wings seems like it's going to happen. But at the same time, like, are the Red Wings ready to compete? And does Patrick Kane want another cup? Or is he just comfortable with the Red Wings because it's close to where he works out? He's friends with DeBrincat. So that's another interesting one for me. Like Patrick Kane, you would think he goes to a contender. But are the Red Wings a contender? I don't know. That's up for you guys to decide. Let me know in the comments. But I also think that for a guy like Jonathan Taves, he goes home. So there's those conversations too. A guy like Jake Allen, I actually could see sign with like a contender, like the Florida Panthers. So they had like Vanacek, and they had a couple guys come in, but I could see Jake Allen just wanting a cup and being part of the three-peat maybe. So I'll just throw Panthers in there. Anthony Mantha to the Leafs. Again, another Brad Trey Living connection. Brandon Tanev. So I think between Mantha, Tanev, I'll even throw like Tanner Jeannot in that conversation, Max Pacioretty. I think Trey Living is going to target 2 of the guys I just named and try to, I would say, ultimately sign 2 of those guys. They might bring back Stevie Lorentz. I don't have Lorentz on here because he's just, if the Leafs don't bring him back, it's such a wild card to predict where Lorentz will go of all guys. But just to give some more predictions, I feel like Jeannot is such a Bruin. Like, if the Leafs can't snag him, if other teams can't snag him, like, he's a Bruin. He would fit perfectly for the Bruins. Luke Cunnin, maybe a hometown with the St. Louis Blues. I've also thrown some Leaf connections with Cunnin in the past. Matt Grzelcyk with the Red Wings. I could see a couple other teams going after him. Have Pius Suter going to New Jersey. $5 million is probably his price tag after the year he had. If you add some more term, it probably could even go lower than $5 million. But I think the Devils are in that situation where they just traded Eric Holla. They are not going to bring back Cody Glass. They watched the Florida Panthers have the 1-2 punch and then have Lundell as that third-line center. I feel like Pius Suter is like a Walmart older version of Lundell. That's not even a Pius Suter chirp there. That's just Lundell is that good, but Pius Suter is kind of a light version of that. And the Devils would probably benefit having him obviously under Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. So I could see the Devils having a perfect fit there, and I think he's also from Switzerland. So I feel like there's a couple guys that are Swiss on the Devils. Obviously Hischier and I think being the captain, and then obviously Siegenthaler as well. Looking at Jack Roslovic, I feel like a team like Utah, they're going to be sniffing around for agency, so I think they're going to get a forward as well. And I think if they can't get some of those bigger names I discussed, like a Marner, Besser, I think Jack Roslovic, a 20-plus goal scorer, I think makes some sense for them. But San Jose could also overpay. Jeff Skinner, Dallas Stars, I think the Stars are going to try to look for some cheaper options. I think they're going to still circle back on Mikael Granlund, and I think I had Granlund somewhere here. Yeah, so I had Granlund, Stars or Sharks, but yeah, I think there's a couple other teams that are going to try to go after Granlund beyond those 2. And then any other teams I mentioned, I mean, Nyquist may be a veteran piece for the Rangers. Stars, Joel Armia. I think the Stars are going to try to go to the bargain bin this free agent class. If they can't afford Mikael Granlund, guys like Armia, hopefully bring back Ben on a cheaper contract, maybe a Jeff Skinner for some scoring. We'll see. But I think the no tax status, obviously, it helps. For the Lightning, they might get one of those depth guys. Like, I could see them looking at Luke Cunnin. I could see them looking at Jeff Skinner cheap. Apparently, Cam Atkinson's not going to be back, so I'll throw that name into the hat. Like I said, I probably missed a lot of depth guys. Like, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Kasperi Kapanen too. I didn't really mention too much on the Corey Perry thing, but apparently he wants over $2 million a year, and I just don't know if Edmonton's giving him that. I think some of these contending teams, if they bring Corey Perry in, they're going to want him at a bargain. Max Pacioretty, there's some talk that he wants to stay in the area here, like Detroit, Michigan family connection, but then obviously maybe he could come back to Toronto. There's a couple teams he could probably go to on the eastern side of things, but Cody Glass going home to Winnipeg would be a fun story. Johnny Durand to the Golden Knights, or he also did play junior with Mackenzie Weegar, so the Flames connection, if he wasn't to go back to Colorado, I think those are the 2 options. But beyond that, guys, make some suggestions in the comments. I definitely love making predictions. They're not always going to be accurate, of course, but for at least some of these top names I listed, I hope I do get quite a few right. So give me your thoughts. Comment down below your free agent predictions. Like, subscribe, notification bell, do all that good stuff, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks, everyone. See you on the next video, and see you in the free agent live stream on July 1st, and hopefully the draft stream as well. Talk soon. Peace.